So today I want to talk about something that I run into quite often. Typically when I get data from different sources, right? So maybe I have an accounting system and we just changed to a new accounting system. So half my data comes from one system, half comes from another system, half may, or something may come from email from a customer or an operational system or QuickBooks, a customer sent, something. There's all these different sources of data. And what happens a lot of times is they're just not formatted the same. So here I have just some data, right? It really doesn't matter what, but here I have a company name, invoice number, and amount. It could be anything. And over to the right here, I just put together a quick pivot table. Basically, this should be company name and total dollars, right? But if you look here, it's Carol Smith, then it's ABC Company, then another ABC Company, then another Carol Smith, Dave Jones, Joe Smith, another Carol Smith, and another Carol Smith, and then another. So you could see that something's going on here. And if I kind of put the mouse in and just hit F2, I'm going to see, okay, well here I can notice there's a bunch of spaces. And then if I hit F2, this one looks like it's pretty much okay. Okay, so I see there's some leading and some trailing zeros here. Spaces here. That one looks okay. That looks okay. Oh, again, there's some spaces at the end. And you can keep going down and say, okay, there's some spaces at the end this time. Oh, this one has spaces in the beginning and the end. So basically when I'm trying to summarize this data, the pivot table is looking at each one of these as different companies. Even though it's the same company, just one happens to have space either before or after or both or something like that. Now, a lot of times you'd go in and maybe you could use like find and replace to remove things like spaces, but I want to keep the space in between. I don't want to remove that. I want to keep it like a normal name where it would be Carol space Smith, but I don't want to have any leading zeros, any leading spaces, trailing spaces, anything like that. So what would I do in this situation? And in this situation, I'm going to use a formula called trim. So here's what I would do. Like, here's the data. I'm just going to come over to the right of the data. Doesn't matter where. And I'm going to basically hit a plus, or I'm going to hit a equal sign. This lets Excel know that I'm putting a formula in. And I'm just going to start typing trim. And I'm going to hit, once it, you type trim, you can see it's highlighted in blue, trim. Once I see it highlighted in blue, I hit tab. And now it's basically going to ask me, what do I want to trim? So I'm basically just going to go over to the company name, because that's what's kind of throwing this whole schedule off. And I'm going to close the parentheses. And I'm just going to basically copy this formula down, right? So I'm going to hit Control C. I'll go down to something where there's data, and I'll hit End down, because this goes down maybe 60 rows. I'm going to come back. I'm going to hold Shift, hit End up, and I'm going to hit Enter to copy that formula. So now I've trimmed all of this. So now what I want to do is, because it is a formula and I want to copy it back over into the company name, I'm going to hold Shift, End down. I'm going to hit Control C to copy. And then I'm going to move that back over into the company name. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to paste this as a value. Paste value. Or you could right click and go to paste value. And now if you look, this should have taken, what trim does is it takes all the spaces off of the front and the back of the text, right? So if I come back over to this pivot table and I right click and I sit refresh, now it actually only has the 4 companies that I'm doing business with in this month, right? So here we have just ABC, just one time, Carol, David Jones, Joe Smith, just once. So it's kind of quick, but it's something that if you didn't know, it could be a challenge to kind of get rid of all those leading spaces and trailing spaces. It just could become a pain, and to get to clean up your data, if you know the trim formula, it's real simple. So hopefully this helps. All right, thanks a lot. I hope this video really helped you out. And if it did help, please hit like and subscribe, because that really helps me out. Also, head on over to my website at expertofficetraining.com, and you could see a lot more training videos, and also sign up for my email newsletter and get a free video course delivered right into your inbox. Again, it's expertofficetraining.com, or just click the link below.